guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna be reacting to a video called 5 Things That Drive Me Crazy in Poland. This is from a channel called Love My Poland, so check that out. And I don't know, I don't know how many things can drive you crazy in one single country. Probably more than 5, right? But I don't know, it's coming out of a place of love. So I don't know, we'll see. So let's check it out and comment, like and subscribe.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Love My Poland. I've just come back from a class this morning at a local company here in Częstochowa, and I asked a few of my students, what do you think about the channel? Are things going well? Are you enjoying the episodes? And they said, yes, absolutely, we love them, make more, but you really ought to think about talking about some things you don't love about Poland. You know, just because the channel is called Love My Poland doesn't mean you can't talk about things you don't love. And at first I was really hesitant. I thought, oh gosh, I'm going to get a lot of thumbs down in this video, people are going to hate it, and maybe I shouldn't do that. But he said, don't worry about it, just do it anyway. Talk about some things you don't like, or maybe some things you wish could be different about the country. So that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I have 5 things today that I'd like to share with you that drive me crazy when it comes to living in Poland. So let's begin. The first thing is that Polish people tend to be late. You know, kind of comparing that to America, I remember when I would go on job interviews or if I had to be at a university lecture, my goodness, even being 5 minutes before that time was already iffy. But in Poland, we have the polar opposite. To give you a good example, we have a rapidly growing language school in Częstochowa called Base English School. And I personally see over 300 students per week. And I would easily say that more than half of those students come to my classes late. The majority of them are late to class. You know, it's their right to do that, and they do apologize for being late. They say next week it'll be better. But after all,
I think that's crazy, because I would have thought they were a little bit more strict about, I don't know, punctuality and, I don't know, attending class. Well, it just depends on the student, of course.
All the years, it still drives me mad. I just can't comprehend it. But I do love my Polish people. It is the way it is. Things are slowly changing, and what...
I don't think although I think the word is not lazy. I just think maybe they have a bad time management. That's what I would call it.
Can you do? The second point is body distance in Poland. I am really phobic about personal distance. If you come too close, I feel awkward and I start to think of ways immediately of how to escape. It's just the way I am. I've tried to change it over the years, but I can't. I need a certain amount of body distance. And you know, according to online and different books that have written about it, the appropriate personal distance is about 1.5 feet or about half a meter.
Wait, what? That's your appropriate according to science, apparently? What is it? Personal space always intimate? Yeah, of course, if it's someone that you're close to, is half I actually have no idea. 1 feet, 1 foot, what is this? A meters? I don't know how much that is. I need the distance measured in, I don't know, tell me the actual thing. I don't know how much is that. I have no idea, actually. I need distance. I need a ruler to actually understand this.
And in Poland, often these rules may not apply. The older generation especially feels comfortable getting really, really close in the zone. You know, sometimes they just go nose to nose with me and they talk and wow, I feel really awkward. I feel really uncomfortable. And that's just something you're going to have to get used to here in Poland. Okay,
so that's my question. Even with strangers, you're just meeting someone for the first time and then you're sort of up in their, Polish people are up in their face, as in, can you please back up a little bit? You're just a little too close to me.
It is tough, especially if you're phobic like I am about that distance.
It's just a little
I think the prime example of where you'll find this problem is in supermarkets. While standing in the line or in the queue, these rules definitely don't apply, the body distance rules. I cannot count the number of times I've been hit in the back with somebody's shopping cart. I'm still really struggling with that, and it's usually, again, the older generation. So body distance in Poland, a little bit closer to the point where sometimes...
Oh, okay, so it's the older people. Maybe it's just older people. They have a bad sort of, you know, they don't really know how to handle their bodies. So it's just sort of, oh, am I too close to you? I had no idea. Probably younger people, they have more sort of awareness about their bodies. So they know that I'm not going to sort of come up to you. You know, I'm not going to hit you with my cart.
You're uncomfortable, but with the younger society, they've kind of understood that, so shouldn't be a problem. The third point is Polish coins. You know, the paper money is pretty good. You've got paper money here and they're ordered.
Confusing.
Every denomination of money is according to the size and the amount, a little bit smaller. It goes from small to large. So for example, we have a 10 or a 20 and it's even color coordinated. You've got a 20 here in pink color and it's got a circle to kind of help you know what bill that is. So it's smaller, it's a 20. We've got a 50 here. The 50 is a blue color and it's got a little diamond on it. So it is a little bit bigger than...
Well, it's well, obviously I have no idea how much money that is. It's still, it's just confusing to me. You know, the minute I see a bill as in a currency, my brain just sort of stops working. And who are these people? They look very interesting. Are those kings?
The 20, so it goes logically in order from smallest to largest. And then you've got really the everyday 100.
I have to admit though, I kind of hate the idea of them not being. I understand logically, it's better. You have, you know, the smaller one is smaller. You know, the currency it's smaller and the bill itself. But I just hate that they're not the same size. I just think it's, oh, I don't like that.
Zloty bill, and that's got a plus sign on top, and it is one of the larger bills. So very, very logical. I love the paper money, but when it comes to the coins, the Polish coins, this is when we have a problem.
I just don't like it in practice.
You have here the order of basic Polish coins. We've got 1 grosz, 2 grosze, 5 grosze, up to the silver coins, 10, 20, and 50. And as you can see, they're relatively close in size. They have the same surface. They feel the same.
I'm gonna rewind this. I mean, the 10 one's smaller, the 20 is a little bit bigger, and the 50 is just pretty big, which I think, okay, that goes, again, logically, I think it's fine. I think it's fine with coins. I just don't like it with bills.
As you can see, they're relatively close in size. They have the same surface, they feel the same, they're the same color.
But they're bigger.
Looking at a distance and searching through your wallet when it's time to pay, I always struggle, especially with the two smaller coins. The 1 and the 2 are very much similar, and I always pick the wrong one out of there. The 10 and the 20 as well, and it's equally this.
I'm sorry. No, they look. I don't know. They look different to me.
Same when you get to the 20 and 50. They're very, very close together in size, and being the same color, wow, it's confusing. So I go through my wallet very, very often. I pull it out in my hand, and sometimes I just stick out my hand like this to the cashier and I say, "Would you please count the coins? Just take what you need," because it takes so long, and I get flustered. There are people behind me waiting and patiently.
And yes, you know, a cashier, obviously that's their job. They're going to be more efficient at this than you. That you're just, I have no idea. I don't know. Do you count them? I don't know. You know what you're doing.
Everybody's in a hurry to get out of the store. So coins cause me a bit of stress living in Poland. Polish coins need to be changed. But as we get into the bigger coins, like the 2 zloty and the 5 zloty coins and the 1 zloty, I don't have an.
How much are those coins used? Is this a large amount of money? Like, does this get you anything? I don't know. Are those pennies? What is this?
Example of that here, but it's a silver one. They're very, very distinguishable, so you don't confuse these. But
really, to me, those. Okay, I'm going to rewind again. To me, those don't look extremely similar. I would get them confused all the time.
I have an example of that here, but it's a silver one. They're very, very distinguishable, so you don't confuse these. But the smaller amounts, from the 1 grosz to the 50 grosze, is really, really a headache for me. So take that into consideration. Coins are also problematic in shops. I would safely reckon that about 80% of the time you'll be asked to search for change. And if you do not have change, the cashier will always make a sour, frustrated face at you. Every single time they ask for change, do you have 37 grosz or whatever? I say, oh no, I don't have any.
And they'll hate you.
They kind of sigh, they exhale, and okay, maybe you pay with a credit card or a bank card.
Yeah.
Okay, I can pay with a credit card or bank card. We do it that way. And I've had a time, I was at the seaside recently, I didn't have the right change, I didn't have any bank cards with me, and the lady literally asked me, maybe you'll come back later when you have some money, the exact change. I didn't go back to the store, I canceled the transaction and just left. So change can be a real problematic point for.
That's crazy, and you need to have the exact same amount. And how will I know? I don't know how much money I'm going to be spending. That's crazy.
When you live here, my advice is to get yourself a wallet with a coin pouch. They're almost impossible to find back in the U.S., but here in Poland, the leather wallets almost always come with a little coin pouch for men, where you can keep your coins in there and be prepared for the time that you're going to have to produce change. The third point that drives me completely insane about eating out in Poland. Polish napkins. If you've ever been to Poland, you know exactly what I'm talking about before I even start talking. But let me fill you in if you've never been here.
Yes,
in a lot of restaurants still today, there are napkins, if you want to call them this way. They are kind of square pieces of transparent, very thin, non-absorbent paper that are kind of twisted in a way and stuffed into this clamp device.
Like a Kleenex?
And if you're not aware of how to get these napkins out, you're gonna have real problems. Let me give you a great example of the right way and the wrong way to do this. Now I just want to tell you first of all that I have a master's degree in business, and these napkins still give me fits today. If I'm not focused on how to do it, I will make a mess at the table. The wrong way is to go along the long side of the napkins and just try to remove one. You cannot do it that way. You have to take the napkins, turn it toward you where you're looking at it in a vertical fashion. Put your finger in the opening of the napkins and remove a napkin from the inside of that opening out. It is absurd. It is ridiculous. These napkins need to be ancient history right now. The fifth and final point.
Can I agree?
Everybody needs to hear this point. Listen very, very carefully. If you are a Polish person and you meet somebody from England, from Australia, from the United States, from Canada, from any country that is quote unquote a richer country, do not ask that person, what are you doing in Poland? Isn't it better to live there? Don't you have better opportunities abroad?
Oh.
This question is the question you don't want to ask me. It drives me insane. I hate this question. I have a good job in Poland. I have my own business. I make pretty good money. My children love living here. I love living here. The winters are long and hard. That's true. But I asked them, I just turned the question back around. I say, okay, let's do it this way. Besides better money, and besides better prices of petrol or gasoline, why don't you tell me what's better about living in America? I'm all ears. And usually the reaction in their face, they're just completely frozen. They have no idea what to say. Really think about it. What is better? Poland's in the European Union. You can travel all across Europe right now. There are many places to discover here. The same is true in America. A lot of beautiful places to see. So let's go through it.
Sure.
I really hope that this mentality of Poland is worse, Poland is bad, will change. Because honestly speaking, it's insulting to me and it's insulting to you to ask that question as a Polish person. So thank you for watching this episode. Please don't give me a thumbs down on this video. I'm just telling you the truth from my experience. I realize there's some things that are going to, touch a nerve with some people, but I'm being honest. I'm speaking from the heart about the country. Anyway, the most important thing is that you enjoy something with the video and you learn something today. So a lot more episodes coming out. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. As I've heard in other videos, it's absolutely free. You have nothing to lose. So give me a subscribe, please. Thank you.
This is quite controversial, I think. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. But it's really funny. I think the end thing that bothers the final comment that I think ends up, sort of annoying him the most. I think it's really funny, because I think a lot of people tend to put, and it's really, I think it's just curious to me, how come a lot of people just, because you would assume that most people, or again, I know that it depends, but most people, I think, would be, especially I think when you meet someone that's not originally from your place or wherever you live, you would be, I don't know, more positive about it. Or maybe it's just, again, I think it's just something that happens. I don't know what this is called. I think it's just psychological, something, an effect that happens. Where I think usually that's what I would assume, right? Even if obviously no country is perfect, and a lot of countries I think feel a little bit less or more nationalistic about their own place about their origin. Again, I know that changes depending on the person. It depends on the country. It just depends on a lot of things, which I understand. But usually I think, again, you would assume people are a little bit more, there's at least some, maybe not proud, because pride is not really the actual word, as in, oh, again, you're from one place, well, who cares, right? It's not as if, oh, I'm so proud. I know some people do feel proud about certain things, but again, certain aspects of a certain culture, I think that makes you proud, which, as it should be, great, incredible. But I know as a general rule, let's assume that, there's something for everyone, and there's something that makes you feel proud about, specifically about the country that you're from. Again, I know not always, and I think this can lead to a bit of a slippery slope, because you can't really take it to another opposite of, oh, I'm so proud of being from this country, and my country is the best place ever. I mean, so again, it's just this sort of a balance, which I think I would assume most people would sort of would arrive to. It's sort of, there's negative things, of course. There's negative things to any situation, to any country, to anything. But there's also some positives as well, because again, not everything's black and white. So you arrive, I would assume, to this bit of a middle ground, which is, yes, is everything perfect? Well, no. But is everything negative and bad? No, of course not. Because again, no situation is all bad, and no situations are all good, usually. But again, there's this shade of a lot of gray. But I think it's funny that a lot of countries, instead of, again, that's what you would assume logically, a lot of people would assume, yes, again, you have some good things about this country, and I am very proud to be of this particular thing. I'm very proud about this aspect of my culture. Not that proud about the other part. Great, sure, let's have a conversation. But a lot of the times, what happens, in reality, is that people, instead of being, you meet someone that moves to a certain, moves to your country, instead of you being, oh, great, you must have really liked it here, or I don't know what made you live here, because again, maybe, but I think in a positive way, as in, oh, so nice to have you here, clearly you enjoyed it enough to move here. You would assume that's the case, but I think a lot of people just do the opposite and are completely sort of the negative thing of, why would you ever choose to live here? If I don't like this place, I live here because whatever, I'm from here, but why would you you would actively choose to move here from other place? It's kind of weird. And again, I think that's just what a lot of, the reality for a lot of people, which I think is the strange part, is wouldn't you arrive to this sort of middle ground of, oh, again, or maybe you would, I don't know, maybe express that if, things are going so badly for you, I think maybe you would find a place to, again, a place as in, the equilibrium of things, of actually, posing this question in a way that's a little bit more, I don't know, nicer to you and nicer to, to the country, as in, oh, wow, interesting to have you here. What made you, take the leap, since I think maybe, again, economy is bad, politics are bad, or whatever it is that you think, or culture is bad, whatever it is that you feel, as in, why my country sucks, why would you choose to live here? I don't know. So it's really curious to me how, a lot of people choose to sort of put yourself down, because technically, again, if you are from one country and that's your reaction, you're kind of putting yourself down, as he said. It's a little bit of, hey, shouldn't you feel a little bit, a little bit prouder or a little bit better, I think, of I don't know, someone moving and choosing to move there, as in, you live there because maybe you have no choice, although of course you're always going to have choices, but whatever, it's sort of, oh, but you choose to live here. I don't know. It's really intriguing to me. I think maybe it just comes across, and maybe that's the thing, a lot of cultures and maybe a lot of people to a certain extent, maybe it's because you don't want to feel, because again, you're scared of this being taken to the extreme, so you don't want to feel as in the person, which is probably a very American thing, the whole, oh, my country, greatest country ever, USA, US of A, best country in the world. So maybe they don't want to they wouldn't want to be seen as that, because that takes, I think, and again, not every single American, but a lot of Americans do really do the whole, USA, best country ever. So maybe they don't want to feel, like that, as to that extreme. So maybe I think they kind of, I'm going to play it cool, and I'm going to play it a little bit as, oh, I'm going to focus on the negatives instead of the positives, instead of being, oh, good, that's great, you actually really liked it here, we must have been done something right, culturally, socially, politically, economically, whatever, to make people actually, come and live here. So it's really funny to me that I don't know why that happens. I think maybe it's gotta be a psychological effect that's happening there. Whether, again, you want to put yourself a little bit down just because or maybe it could be sometimes, I think, a sort of a defensive mechanism, and you want to put yourself down instead of, because you're expecting this person to be, oh, I hate this country, why would I move here, whatever, I regret it so badly. And instead of being, because it's hurtful, instead of being that, you go firsthand, oh, no, why would you move there? It sucks, right? Because you're expecting that you're expecting the foreigner to be, I actually do hate it. I regret every single second. So maybe that's why you do it. I don't know. But I think, obviously, again, realistically, that's not really what happens, because if someone moves there, they're willingly moving there. They're not going to be, oh my God, I hate this place. It's no, because why would you ever do that, right? And I think sometimes there's also a thing about, which again, it happens a lot, as I think, if a foreigner cannot really criticize your country, only you can, right? Because you, again, to other people, you're, oh my God, this country, again, if you're talking to other, and of course, when you're a resident to the country, I think that maybe changes a little bit, because again, they're sharing your perspective. Then maybe someone that it's a visitor, or, has no ties, or just, I just visit, every couple of years, or this is my first time here. Of course, you're going to feel bad if they're sort of, why are you criticizing here? No, you're not allowed to do that. That if you are, a resident of that country, or you're born there, or you have some ties, is, oh yeah, I can criticize all I want, because, it's me, and it's coming from a place of love, and it's ultimately, again, that's where it comes from. It's coming from a place of constructive criticism, and it's good, and maybe you want to improve, but not necessarily as, why are you criticizing my country? No, you're not allowed to do that. me, I can. People that live here can, but you as a visitor, you can't really do that. So maybe again, that has something to do with this. I don't know, just putting it out there. But also, I think as well, something that's really important that I think people, you kind of look, it's again, maybe it doesn't really happen that often, but I do believe it does. Is, the whole thing, the grass is always greener on the other side. So of course, if you're from the opposite, and it doesn't really matter because you can put any single example of any countries, or even sometimes it happens with cities, within the same country. It's the same. Oh yeah, they have it better than I do, and why would you willingly, come here? Because everything sucks here. But it's because you're seeing it from the outside, and from your perspective, everything's better. But obviously, again, they're coming from their perspective because they are, again, on the opposite side of the mirror. They're on the opposite side. They're thinking, no, but, you have it great. What? Why are you talking? Of course I'm moving there. But it's, from your perspective, you're seeing it as, no, everything sucks. Because again, ultimately, I think all the things that I just mentioned, maybe it all boils down to that, in which you believe that everyone has it better, but it's just the syndrome of grass is always greener on the other side. And you don't really get to see, how good you have it, or just you don't really focus on the positives just because you're constantly thinking what other people have, and you think, oh, everyone has it so much better. But you don't really know that, right? And I think they're probably thinking the other way around, that you have it better than them. So I think that's really usually what happens. And you can say it because he mentions, from people, well, he makes the case for the USA, but I think he also mentioned, I think, Canada, Australia, just the UK, I think other countries. And when he mentions, of course, in his case, what do you think? Why do you think, I'm here? Why would I be, what USA offers to me that I don't really have here? And there's a blank. It's, well, I don't know. You make a good point. And that's it. People are not thinking about this. It's just something that is just your natural reaction, your first reaction, your first instinct, instead of actually thinking things through and be, well, actually, great point, right? No, probably I have everything I need here. Why would I choose to move, in this case, to the US? But your first reaction when an American person moves there is to think, why would they move here? It's, well, clearly things are working for them. Obviously, again, everyone has a different reality, of which, of course, that's also really important. Everyone has their own perspective. Everyone has their own reality. So it's going to depend, of course, everything's going to depend that personal situation. And some people, of course, they're thriving there. Maybe some people are not thriving there, but maybe again, it's your perspective and your experience is going to be different from mine. So everything just depends. Everything's subjective. Everything, again, all gray colors, nothing black or nothing white. It's funny that he mentioned, of course, in the EU, everything's great. I mean, not because it's the EU and you can travel around, and he mentions, Poland's amazing. Again, depends, right? Probably, Polish people maybe have different perspectives, and again, maybe they think the US is great. I think, and that's not really saying, oh, the US is bad, it sucks. No, you can travel around. Yes, the US also has amazing places you can visit, of course. The EU, of course, it has amazing places to visit as well. Only, again, it's really easier if you have an European passport, not necessarily with an American passport, but, the whole freedom of movement thing. But again, all places are good. I don't think they're inherently bad or even just good. Let's say that. It's not as, they're both countries are not in either country. I think it's inherently good. It's just whatever floats your boat. Some people may think, the USA is the greatest country. Some people may think Poland is the greatest country. It's going to depend on their own personal situation and what they're looking for, what they have, again, just certain life circumstances, which I think are obviously changed so much. The other funny thing that was just a little bit of, I'm with this guy. The napkin situation, I think that's really funny. I think it would probably be, I can see myself, if you're as a tourist, again, you don't really know how the thing works, making a disaster at the table, putting out those napkins and be, oh my God, what do I do this? Why do you need to have this specific sort of method to grab the napkins? No idea. I think it's just something, it's really funny, again, because it hasn't happened to me. I think if this were something that would have happened to me because, if I lived there, or as a tourist, or I've been there a few times, and I'm still, of course, I'm not used to this because it's not something that I'm not living there. I think if this had happened to me a few times, I think I would have had it as well, and I would be with him of, oh my god, I hate this, as it is. I just find it funny. I don't find it so incredibly, nerve wracking, but it's just something very hateful about this. I don't really know, but again, it hasn't happened to me, but I understand if this has happened to you enough times, I can see what you would be. I've had it with these napkins. Please remove them out of my sight. The one with the coins, I kind of agree a little bit and I don't agree. I do not like coins. I do not like cash. I think it's confusing all around. We should all just move around to digital money. Use your card. You don't have to count anything. It's just sort of, use your card, use your phone. Your card is in your phone. But the thing is, it's all sort of digital. The computer makes everything for you. You had this amount of money. Now you have this one. It's good. You don't have to mentally calculate how much money am I going to be spending in this specific day or in this specific week. So I have to take out bills. I have to take out coins. If someone tells me, I'm paying for something and it says, 50 plus whatever, plus taxes. How much is that? Hey, your total is, 37 whatever, coins, pennies. I don't know. It's just very confusing to me. And I have to count the bills. I don't know. It's just whatever. You take what you need. I don't really know. And then, but it's funny because I would be the person of just, not even with the coins, even bills. It's just whatever. You take what you need. I have no idea what this is. I'm not going to do the math. It just makes me nervous. So I think it's really funny that he was mentioning sometimes, obviously he does it. I said, I don't know, cashier, you know what you're doing. Tell me, grab them. But then they also, if you don't have this, the change and you don't have the exact same amount, they're also going to be had it with you. So it's just, oh my God, I don't know. Just use my card, use the card, use your phone. I really dislike that idea. It would also drive me mad of just people, because I know that everyone's, if you're standing in line, and I know the cashier has had it with you because you don't know how to count. And also, again, you don't have the change and people are waiting in line. And I know that they're probably, they want to end up, doing their thing really quickly. And you're stuck in there, and it's just a nightmare situation for me. So either change that, please, or use the self-checkout machines, which I think are the perfect solution because they use digital, either cards or phones. And, there's no queue. Well, there are queues, but it's just, I think there's just a little bit less pressure because you don't feel as if, there's someone sort of standing right behind you and the cashier sighing or rolling your eyes as in, oh my God, I'm dealing with stupid people all around, which is, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I have no idea. And the other is of course, the actual personal space situation. I'm a little unclear because you mentioned it's older people generally, the ones that do this. So maybe again, it's just older people in general. I haven't noticed. Maybe it's just a worldwide epidemic of older people do not really know, how to please maintain some personal space. But even he mentioned, I think it was in stores and stuff of, please, I have my circle. I don't know what that is. I think he mentioned the specific sort of science behind this, but it's just really funny to me how apparently in Poland, that's again, maybe newer generations are more normal about this, and they know because probably they don't like it either to be sort of standing, in front of everyone's faces. I think everyone, of course, should use some personal space because again, it's strangers. I don't know you. Why are you standing so close to me? I don't know. And why are you sort of touching me? Or I don't know. Maybe they did mention touching. Maybe that's another story. But why are you there are cultures which are very sort of, I don't know, touch friendly, and it's sort of, why are you touching me? It's, I don't know you, but I don't, again, it just depends. But with this sort of situation, I think maybe again, it's a younger generation that also understands the concept of, please remove yourself from my space. So maybe again, it's older people, but I just find it very curious that I think a lot of people, or maybe I know I have, maybe I don't think I'm the only one. They have this, this perspective and this sort of thing about, I believe that people in Poland, because people in Europe, I think are probably a little bit more reserved and are a little bit more as in they need their personal space. So it's funny to me that, apparently in Poland, that's not the case, because I would assume, in Europe, everyone sort of tries to maintain their distance, but apparently not in Poland. Or maybe older generations they didn't got the memo. So again, very, very interesting perspective on an American, that lives in Poland. But that was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye!